What's something that people turn into their whole personality? Some fans are kinda scary. Their whole life becomes dedication to a celebrities, and it's not just their personality, they make everything around them about that person. Posters, music, merchandise, were things bought on the internet, supposedly with relation to the subject of their obsession, and so on. I can't imagine being close to somebody before and after their transition into that life. It seems like it'd be scary. I have a buddy we'll call Chris. Chris was a pretty laid-back stoner type. Then he went to Washington where he met a bunch of hippies and became Hippie Chris. Then he moved to Hawaii for a year, and when he came back, he was Hawaiian Chris. Now he lives in South Dakota and he's Native American Chris. Completely reinvents himself every so often to the point of near contradicting his previous self. He's a good guy underneath, but seems a bit lost. In defense of Chris, he probably views this as personal growth. Man, he thinks, I used to be a lazy stoner, but since I moved to Washington my eyes have been open to the life I was living, and now I'm determined to become a better person. This narrative would continue with every shift in his life, and he'd look back on the younger man as being someone he's glad he's moved on from. He'll hit a time in his life where all of the lessons he's learned will make sense in the context of this journey, and hopefully he'll be happy with the man he's become as a result. Especially when their partner is also a single-issue identity person. Army Wives is one. Or a girl that dates a guy in a band sometimes, or that guy whose girlfriend plays games, but that's like all she does. One hilarious instance is this girl whose boyfriend was in our equivalent of the reserves. She's convinced he is this badass who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan and all over the world. Guy was like 8 to 10 years old when Iraq happened, and younger again when Afghanistan happened. Not only that, but we're a neutral country. We don't have soldiers all over in hot spots. They have been engaged for like 6-8 years, but he doesn't make as much money as a mall security guard as he pretends he does as a military contractor, so he spends all his money appearing to have money then saving for the future. He also has to keep her at arm's length because he isn't very smart and his lies aren't very good, so he's kind of stringing her along in limbo. Meanwhile, she is rubbing how badass he is in everyone's face. I actually told him to tell her, and tried to tell her, because I thought it was all unusually cruel. As you can imagine, it didn't go well. Tried to do the right thing, caught shit for it. Now I get to laugh guilt-free as they both fucked their lives up. She's like 30 now, and never had a job, because she is sure he's gonna pay her way. Sometimes my GF and I will hang with her work friends, who are all nice and stuff, but all they talk about is work 90% of the time we hang. Most of the time I'm just sitting there trying to understand WTF they're even talking about. I don't work in the same field, or just stick around on my phone. They've even called themselves out before many times, realizing how boring it must be for me, and whoever else is there that doesn't work there. I'm wondering if they'll all still be friends once they all quit and move on with their lives. It seems like they don't really have much in common besides the fact that they all hate their jobs and their boss, managers. I would expect that out of older people, because they were able to spend 30+ years at the same company, probably with many other people who did the same, and for most likely lots of other reasons unique to working through the 1970s on. My dad was a state trooper for 37 years, probably his third ever job after being a paper boy as a kid and briefly a mechanic, and didn't seem to know what to do with himself after he was made to retire because he was about to hit the 60-year age limit. He wore a commemorative state patrol belt buckle for probably over 20 years until my mom finally talked him into wearing a normal one. That job was, and still is, most of what he talks about, and he still drops by his old post to chat up his old co-workers. When it's younger people, yeah, I don't get it, and I tend to feel bad for them. I like to say that something is fucked if you would rather be away at work than at home. whether you're having family problems or live in a shithole or whatever. So that's my first assumption whenever I hear about someone who obsesses about work. I was looking for this. I have a friend who was exactly like that. When they moved in on their own, they'd keep calling me to ask me what gay decorations they should buy for their new place. Everything about them has to be gay apparently, because being part of the LGBTQ+ community isn't enough. When I say everything, I mean down to enjoying iced coffee. Iced coffee is delish and is enjoyed by a lot of people, not only the gays. Always posting stories about how their outfit is gay, or how about their eyeliner game strong because they are gay. I'm queer myself, but Jesus Christ, that isn't the only interesting thing about me. It's just sad when I see people make their queerness their whole personality. I don't know if they're doing it to stand out, feel accepted, or attract others of the same kind. If anything, it makes me want to be less of a friend to you. Out of all my friends who are queer, this specific person I think puts the most emphasis on their sexuality. My other friends are like, oh yeah, I am gay /bi /pan etc. Anyway, where do you wanna go eat? I really hope this isn't taken the wrong way, but it's always weirded me out when anyone makes sexual orientation, or sex in general, or like a fetish, whatever, a major pillar of their identity. I think it's kinda weird when adult men are players and treat women like objects. I think it's kinda weird when adult women are guy crazy and treat men like objects. I think it's kinda weird when being gay /bi whatever is the center focus of your life. I think it's kinda weird when, insert literally anything here, becomes the central way you see yourself. Maybe I have a weird sense of identity, but I feel like identities are complex, and they really shouldn't be so reducible. I mean hell, I'm pretty sure I'm on the bisexual spectrum. Warm fuzzies for men and women, and it's something maybe 5 of my friends know. It's not because I'm ashamed of it. It's because I literally see it as a natural aspect of who I am, and have never felt like there was a time I needed to address it. Nothing changed, really, when I discovered that about myself. I know my family wouldn't be happy about it, but when they found it out, I really gaff. I can appreciate how people would gravitate toward an identity, more so than others if the identity is stigmatized, and by living this identity visibly they are able to find other people, support, etc. But more often than not I feel like this isn't what people are living an identity. More often than not I see it as a coping strategy for persons who are actually really uncomfortable moving through the world. I haven't seen this one yet, but gaming don't come for me. I'm not talking about everyone that games, I'm talking about the people watching obnoxious gaming YouTubers and turning their personality into them. Libers are acting that way to get money and get an audience, in front of a camera not all the time. I enjoy watching gaming videos, Sapnap, Wilbursuit, and I think they're nice. But some are just so obnoxious I can't stand them. I won't name them, but I think we all know what I'm referring to. Sorry this is long. Thanks for listening to me rant. Smile. Thanks for all the upvotes guys. I really thought I was going to get a lot of hate for this one. Months ago I met a girl who's constantly whining about being broke and depressed. Some of her first messages to me were talking about how sad she was and not so subtly hinting that she needed money to help furnish her new apartment. I politely excused myself from those messages and never returned. To this day she posts videos of herself smoking dabs and doing TikTok acting cringe levels of exaggerated lip-syncing videos across multiple social media platforms, every day. I'm in a trivia group, and one of the members' girlfriend is obsessed with their French bulldog, and only talks about their French bulldog in our trivia group chat. And we've all agreed that we hate this designer dog abomination that isn't even trained well. She bought herself a Mother's Day card and signed it from the dog, and it genuinely makes me pinch the bridge of my nose in disappointment when I remember she shared that Herbalife Having to literally explain to people that it's an MLM is so frustrating. They prey on small towns, create nutrition shops that sell $9 shakes when it's literally just Herbalife and is helping the owner barely break even. Happened in my small town, then out of nowhere 3 other branches popped up in the revolving small towns, which basically means the owner can't 3 more into joining so that they can get their profit. There's a documentary out there called like 1 in a Million or something that breaks down the pyramid and how little people at the bottom are actually making. They also show that the shakes are nothing more than liquid laxative, so of course you're losing weight. Also, keto. Okay, I might piss off a lot of people, but mental illness. As someone who suffers from one, it pisses TF out of me when people turn their mental illnesses into their entire personality. Yes, I might have bipolar disorder, but that's a part of me, not the whole me. There are so many other aspects to my personality that's not rooted in my mental illness. I'm trying to fight my mental illness all the time and don't let it define me, but some people just tend to turn their mental illness into who they are, and try to justify anything they do is because of their illness. But I guess to each their own. I won't outright judge someone who's like that, but I'll simply not engage with them or bother to indulge. Lol. Where to even begin? Their fandoms, their choice of alcohol, what TV shows they watch, weebs and t-boos, what region of their country they're born in. I've personally met one woman who attempted to be the embodiment of Southern hospitality, even handed me a Tupperware of fresh-made jambalaya. Had never had it. Was great. Another woman that went to great lengths to be the stereotypical California girl. Some dude who was from Prussia and was all about their history. And an English guy who thought that he'd have women falling for him on his accent alone. And this was only by my sophomore year at college. You've got the people that make their recreational drug of choice their personality. From my experiences, it was usually weed or LSD. Frat and sorority people. Plenty of people make their religion their whole personality, usually WASPs, pagan, Wiccan, or Druidism followers. It can go on and on, to be honest. Car people, horse girls, aviators, their sport of choice like basketball or volleyball, people who are pop culture junkies and those who are proud of their pop culture ignorance, and many people make their career their whole personality. This is a really open-ended question, haha. As a meat eater who used to work at a fast food joint, I'm going to get real and say that meat eaters are undoubtedly worse than vegans. Generally, interactions with presumed vegans went, "Hey, can you take this out of the meal? Thanks." Worked there for 4 years and never had to deal with a smug or angry vegan. However, one summer, we had the misfortune of adding vegan sausages and burgers to the menu. Holy fucking shit. The amount of smug and painfully obviously insecure guys scoffing and making stupid remarks about an item addition that doesn't even fucking affect them was off the charts. I've had people somehow turn this into weird macho, borderline homophobic remarks, including one full 5-ish minute rant, drag imaginary vegans, say demeaning things about any hypothetical people who would even order the product and then dare fucking look at me with an immerite look on their faces like they expected me to enable their pathetic selves. I just want them to quickly order and get out of my sight. What did they expect? For me to say that there's nothing more cool and masculine and totally not loony as hell than losing your mind over the availability of an item that you don't even want. I'm sure that there are smug vegans out there, but I'm also convinced that they're extremely outnumbered by obnoxious meat eaters. Please Lord, just shut the fuck up and order your meal when you're going to a takeout place. Being sick/sickly, I've always had very poor health, and in high school and early college, as my conditions worsened, I didn't like that I couldn't live a normal life, so I kind of leaned into it. Always joked about how sickly I was while secretly hating myself for not being able to keep up with my peers. Some maturing and some guidance from my mother has helped me to learn that, yes, poor health sucks, and yes, I can't always do the things that healthy people can, but that doesn't have to control my identity. Doing far better now, learning what my true limits are and how to work with them. Edit. Thank you for all the kindness and support. Some of the comments have made me teary. I really appreciate you all. Had a coworker get into Herbalife. She would take really crappy before pictures of herself slumped over with unwashed and unbrushed hair, ill-fitting clothes and shitty-ass lighting with a plain wall background. Her after pics would have freshly styled clean hair, full makeup, push-up bra and skin-tight clothes, bright lighting with pretty backgrounds. You could tell by her particular dye job the photos were basically taken back to back. I called her out on that crap so quick. I'm Norwegian. When I say that, a shocking amount of people assume that I'm American with Norwegian heritage. There are so many Americans making their Viking heritage their whole personality, butchering the Norse faith and fighting with the actual Norwegians over the correct way to make a traditional dish and the spelling and usage of skull. Cheers. It's so fucking horrible to watch. It's like being mocked. Being a badass in school, like giving teachers a day of hell just 'cause they're real and say what they think without filtering it. Edit. Whoa, I'm a long-time lurker and this is the first time I've had any awards, let alone this many upvotes. I opened Reddit and was pleasantly surprised. Thank you all. Cheers. OCD. I don't know why many people in my lives believe they have OCD and they are proud about it. There is a difference between keeping everything organized and OCD. Thank you for the awards and all the replies. I was trying to reply to all comments but there were so many. I am sorry for people with real OCD. I can understand how difficult that should be for you. Your thoughts and pain are valid. It is very difficult condition to live with. Please reach out to people who have real OCD and also get diagnosed. I hope everything turns okay for you guys. You made my day. My 23 years / oh god utter struggles. OCD, but it manifests mentally, not physically. She won't obsess over germs or if she locked her doors, but she used to spend hours absolutely debilitated as she huddled in a ball while she replayed memories, many of them traumatic, or various imaginary scenarios over and over and over and over in her mind. She has gotten so much better over the last 2-3 years and it isn't as debilitating as it used to be, but it was a real eye-opener for me, as I had no idea OCD manifested in those ways. Edit. Thank you all so much for your kind words. When we first met her a few years ago, she was living in a homeless shelter after having moved out, escaped from her parents' house. Her father was the source of most of her abuse. And he is also a psychiatrist, so he knew how to fuck her up with precision. She was so debilitated by her OCD she couldn't keep her medical, counseling, or casework or appointments, which made everything worse. And nobody at the shelter bothered to find out what was wrong or help her at all. We helped her to establish a consistent routine, get and keep her appointments, make sure she got the right meds and counselors that worked for her, etc. 3 years later, she's now living in a private group home for adults with controlled, severe mental illness, has a great counselor and support group, is on the correct meds, and is doing so much better. She has become so much a part of our family in the past 3 years. We told her that when she turns 25, if she wants, we will legally adopt her as our daughter, hence why we refer to her as our goddaughter. It has been a difficult journey, but very enlightening and so worth it. I have never seen as much salt produced so quickly as when Disney suspended things for annual pass holders during COVID. I have a few friends who go to Disney obsessively and they were fucking pissed they couldn't go to Disney and that Disney dare make changes to the program in the midst of a pandemic, whereas the couple of cast members employees I know were damn near bordering on suicide because of Disney playing layoff roulette with them, or throwing people high risk on the front lines and basically saying, if you die, you die and not giving them an opportunity to temporarily switch to something lower risk. Edit. I want to clarify slightly. While I'm totally all for throwing shade at Disney themselves for being absolute shitbirds, throwing open the doors in a COVID-infested state in the middle of a pandemic and trying to lobby against California for playing it safe and all and treating their employees as expendable, this was more or less intended to throw shade at the Disney superfans who got mega told they couldn't go to their beloved park in the middle of a pandemic, or the annual pass holders who had an absolute meltdown over Disney having to make changes to the program in a very fucking unprecedented time because they have to act like entitled buffoons, and these people not giving an eighth of a shit about the safety of the people serving them. Open my park now.